Okay. Dodge into 3 aces on turn 1. Okay, I am sorry for the lack of commentary as I am still attempting to find a commentator. I mainly just wanted to make sure we at least have this match recorded because it's the Panda. Unfortunately, most of my go-to co-commentators seem to be busy at the moment. But yeah. So, life total's fairly even. Setsuki hitting 3 aces off the bat is really unfortunate for DeGrey. Bob taking his ace from deck instead of discard is a little confusing. Not sure why he would want to do that. Yo, PCP throw out of the dodge? What the fuck is the rest of Bob's hand? Like 3 troublesome rhetorics? It's gotta be low normals and TRs. Okay. We've got kings. Kings win combat. Gotta change the track. This one's too quiet. Or too slow, rather. Nope. Nope. There we go. Okay, so gets out of the damage. But does eat the knockdown like a champ. Maybe I can get redless. Oh, the TR attack side PCP. Sweet, we got redless. Okay. Hello, hello.
Oh, my Skype is lagging. Hello, Raziak.
How's it going, Redless?
It's going pretty well.
Thank you for agreeing to cast with me, as I just kind of noticed the room go up, and I was like, I need to find a commentator! And then just couldn't find anybody, because, like, Jew and the rest of the DRB people are busy right now. But, you are here, so that is great.
Okay. Well, indeed I am. So we've got Bob taking the first game, it looks like.
Yep, not quite. 1 life.
Tense.
Yeah, this game started looking like it was going to be not fun for Bob, because he got dodged into 3 aces on turn 1.
Wow, that's brutal.
But he did pretty good recovering and landed throw Final Arbiter, and that's a billion damage of Setsuki's life bar, so...
So what do you think of Bob blocking there? I mean, presumably if he has a dodge, he can lethal off of it. Do you think that says that he doesn't have a dodge, or is he slow playing Jenga? What do you think that says?
Probably doesn't have a dodge, but looking at his discard composition, that seems unlikely. I feel like he probably has a 2 or a 3 that he could use for a normal dodge here, so I'm not really sure why he wouldn't fish for one.
Yeah, it does seem a bit odd.
Jenga has not been cycling 7s though, so he's at least not dealing with oppressive combat options going into this next one.
Yeah, and the aces, of course, that are going to let him, bring him 1 combat closer to finishing Bob. Even on top of the other combat.
Yeah.
If he cycles those. Ooh, he went for the dodge.
So the question is, can Jenga dump off of this, or is it just knockdown?
Yeah, this could be...
Oh. I wonder why he chose not to dump there. Maybe he has a power-up? He does, okay.
Yeah, looks like he has a power-up.
Yep.
That's interesting that he chooses to take an ace over an immediate, I guess he gets the knockdown.
I was gonna say, I think the knockdown is the more important piece.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose so.
Because single ace is still super safe here against DeGrey, though Bob has only played 1 king.
Yeah, and, I mean, if Jenga gets a 2nd ace, he's going to be in a very good spot. But if he hasn't gotten a 2nd ace, I think we'd see him discard his 1st ace there. Yeah. So I think, based on that Jenga has the 2nd ace. But we'll see.
The only way Bob can die this combat, I think, is if he gets hit by ace-ace, or if a cross-up normal draws something good. So I don't think he can do it on 3 cards otherwise.
Yeah, and he did go for the ace, so...
Now, is it ace-ace, or was that just a safe play? Just a safe play.
Yeah, that's interesting. Also interesting that Bob is so nonchalant about throwing out the 2 now as cross-up defense, when presumably he was keeping his dodges for so long.
Yeah, that seems a little strange to me that he would go for the 2, but...
maybe like read a throw, cross-up sort of mix thingy, but...
Either way, down to the wire here, 7 life on Bob, 1 on Jenga. Lethal for either combat win.
Yeah. And... it's reasonably likely Bob has a king, though less likely to have a 7.
I feel like if Bob had a king, he would have played it last turn.
Fair enough, fair enough.
But yeah, there's the normal dodge. So unless Setsuki has, well, she's got 14 cards left in Jack and has
No
not seen either
jokers.
Joker. So this has got to be a Joker. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Joker. It's like very possible that she even has the other Joker at this point, and she's just going by the philosophy of don't die with Jokers in hand, tossing out her safe queens.
Yeah, basically no reason not to if you've got the Jokers at 1 life.
So Bob is like halfway through his deck, and he has 3 dodges left in the deck, besides, and 4 dodges if you count his ace. Oh, wow, okay.
I feel like the 5 attack was a bit risky there.
I agree it was risky. I mean, if Bob didn't have a very good hand, I could definitely see the 5 attack, because it does have coverage versus the mix-ups, but at the same time, Jenga's at 1 health, so chip damage is also great coverage.
As Bob said there, Drew shit.
Yeah, I mean, and that's, besides getting so many dodges, it does seem like, I don't know if he powered up for the ace-ace. Probably powered up if you drew shit.
The question is, will we see Bob switch out of this matchup?
I think so. I think Bob plays a lot of characters, and this isn't exactly the best matchup.
This is what I expected from him. I believe he played this matchup against shit. Who did I see it recently? I can't recall. Either way, Bob has been playing a fair amount of Oni, so this is not a great surprise to me.
Yeah, Bob's big 3 are like Oni, DeGrey, Zane, right? So.
Yeah, though he has also been going to Lum a lot still.
Oh yes, Lum.
Good old Lump.
So how this matchup works out, as far as I know, is that Setsuki basically loses hard to Final Authority and is hurt by the trump throws, but her way of getting Onamaru back is that she has approximately infinite dodges. She can dodge every turn, and Ani can never land attacks, but of course he can land throws and things. She always has the threat of dodges, is more the point of her having so many dodges, which is why I think the 2 attack on the first turn was kind of weird and awkward. I would have liked to see a 2 dodge if she were going to play the 2. But she just showed a 3, so it's likely she had a 4-card straight, which I guess justifies playing the 2.
Yeah, she would have gone for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, 5-card straight even. Huh.
Yeah, Oni makes his money hitting attacks into counter throws and playing Final Authority, basically. And also Q. Q is good.
Yeah, those things, and his ace and his great dodge game are really how we see him making money, as you put it.
Yeah.
What we don't see him converting off of as much are throws. He definitely needs to get to a larger hand for his throws to actually become dangerous things. That's one of his options. His other option is to run sets out of dodges and land his mix-ups that way. That's an option. That's a real option in this game. Because Jenga's played a ton of dodges. He already has like 6 dodges in the discard from his starting hand. And like we could see Jenga just not having as many dodges at this point as a result of the absurd amount of dodges he's already gotten rid of.
Nice undercut from Bob, though. This makes his dodge punish even more threatening.
Yeah, this really is going to be an important thing, I think, in this game. Sets she doesn't like to block, so he can even just play face cards straight up and then Final Authority them into the damage. Yeah. And then if she does start blocking, Ani wins block versus block. He doesn't too badly in dodge block, and throw block, obviously, he wins. And even attack block sometimes. But
yeah, so there's the dodge punish that I expected to be set up.
Yeah. I would say Jenga's probably not likely to have good attacks at this point if he used Jay in combat. Jay's kind of a... He'd rather be acing, I think, unless he's saving the aces. Or even, I mean, King and Jay, besides martial law, are the same speed for sets in this matchup.
Yeah,
so,
that's true. And martial law doesn't really come out from Oni very often. Right now, everybody is dodging, and unfortunately, Bob can't afford to be quite as liberal with his dodges as he only has 12.
I mean, yeah, that is the case, but at the same time, I feel that
he does get a billion
just,
damage off of them, so...
He does. He gets a lot of damage. It's the dodge-dodge combats that are really going to hurt him in the dodging department. Jengajam has dumped 8 dodges into his discard already, which is, 9 dodges into his discard out of...
20? Yeah.
20. So that's like almost half his dodges, just in the first several turns, which I think is just absurd.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy.
And I mean, that's a huge point in Bob's favor. As long as he can avoid running his attacks into those dodges, every dodge that Sets gets rid of is a huge win for him. Yeah.
10 dodges, and that one gets scooped.
Yeah, this is not going to be, I don't think, a late game that Jengajam really wins, unless Bob draws shit again and has no final authority. Interesting that he pumped with a single General's Armor of all things. Like, I think that's fine, but I think it, 10 cards or whatever he was at, I mean, first of all, General's Armor is not that good an ability, but...
As I say, I think the main reason he's okay with that is General's Armor is just not very good against that.
Yeah, but the odder thing to me is the fact that he's just pumping... Once.
Yeah.
So I feel like on 10 or 11 cards, he should, well, unless he has some really weird hand, he should want to be pumping more than once.
Ooh, hits the king though, so that's going to be a nice solid 23 damage right up front. And if there's no Joker, this could be quite devastating.
Oh.
I feel like I would have played into that if I had it as Bob. But...
Yeah. Yeah, I agree, generally.
Especially since Jenga has not yet had the opportunity to Speed of the Fox. So...
And I do think that, because of the way that Bob's hand works with all those cards, the limiting factor in Bob getting that last 35 damage is going to be his combat wins, more than it's going to be the amount of cards in hand. So, he should be trying to milk combats for all they're worth, if he's not sure about the face down, or even if, he thinks it might be more likely to be a Joker. Because giving Sets those extra cards isn't that big a deal. And if this leaves him with 1 king in hand, for example, that's a fine time. Like, 1 king is basically a bad card to have if it's just a single king for Anamaru.
So this should be an easy 20 damage here.
Yeah.
Oh,
it looks like he had 2 extra kings.
Oh, no.
And this gets Joker. So yeah, 2 kings was the case. I think that he could have justified not following through.
Yeah. Let's see if I can get CPAD in here as well. Very nice dodge by Bob. This one should almost certainly not get Jokered. 20!
Big damage up in here. I think Bob's fine with just attacking. If he has final authority to back his faces up, Jenga's almost certainly, running super low on dodges. He has 12 in the discard, which is, well over half, and only 4 cards in hand. He's not going to be able to dodge for very long, I don't think.
Yeah,
so if Bob has sufficient supply of face cards, it's Jenga's going to have to block, and he has, 2 blocks in him before Bob's chip starts ripping him apart.
So this is a fairly... Oh!
Oh, wow. That turned from a rather innocuous combo into a...
It's funny you use that word, because that was what I was about to say. It was a fairly innocuous Q, and then there was AA.
Yeah. GC Pat.
That's alright. I was just hoping to get CPAT in since he is very, very familiar with Setsuki, of course. So, Jenga finally sees the speed of the fox.
I wonder where CPAT's eating. Yeah, I mean, Jenga probably has a few dodges at this point, even with the... I mean, that's actually not even clear, because he's used a really, truly high number of dodges so far.
But now he's dead.
Yeah.
Praise be unto Oniq.
Sword you... So,
Now the question is, does Jenga have a DeGrey?
He does have a DeGrey.
Then we will
I can confirm this.
We will see Jenga DeGrey then, yeah. These two are going to be riding the carousel, I would say, for basically this whole set.
I agree.
I think they ran into each other in Summer Smash 2, and Jenga, I believe, won that set. Give me a moment to check how much.
So while you're doing that, I'll just say I think that when it does come time to ride the carousel, I think Bob's going to be riding it into Zane instead of Sets for his DeGrey pick. Okay. Certainly not Troc. Bob doesn't play Troc, does he?
So, last time they played, Jenga led Grave against Bob's Arg, lost, counterpicked Gloria and lost, then switched to Troc and won 4 games straight against Bob's Arg, 2 games against his Lum, and a Geiger. So this carousel is looking distinctly different than the last one, as the last one was the Beastman carousel, and this one is now looking like it possibly will lead into Zane or a DeGrey Ditto.
I don't think it'll be a DeGrey Ditto, because I don't know, maybe as a Zane player you have a different opinion, well, but I think Bob...
I don't think Zane is a particularly strong counterpick to DeGrey, but I'm just trying to think if Bob has a more favorable matchup. Because the problem with Bob going Zane is that immediately invites Jengajam Troc, which he basically solo lost the last set to.
Yeah, I mean, that is a good point. Who do you think the best DeGrey counterpicks are, if not Zane?
Troc. Troc Sets.
Troc Sets?
Yeah, I would say. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else I might say is...
That's interesting. He played the J with no FA to back it up, or at least none he was willing to use to beat the Queen. That's kind of odd.
Yeah, I would say it's basically just Troc Sets with maybe a small side of Quints. Bless you.
Oh, thank you. I've been sneezing all day. It was my first day back at school.
So you're back in Germ Central.
Yep. Out of my little room. Big bad world.
So yeah, I think it's unlikely Bob would go Troc, given that would invite the Troc Ditto. I don't know, we might just see... I suppose you can't really just stay on Oni the whole set, because then you'd just be fighting DeGrey. So we might see them bounce between... Maybe next game we see Bob Sets, and then that gets the Troc out, and then he goes back to Oni. I don't know. Unfortunately, the carousel was looking pretty rough for Bob to deal with from his end.
Yeah, if Jenga's seeing anywhere near the success he had with Trock during their last game, it's going to be a rough set for Bob.
Yeah.
Because it's just, with the DeGrey, it's just ripe for Bob to bring in someone who loses to Trock. And then Trock's out, and Trock.
Yeah, Trock and DeGrey cover each other pretty well.
Yeah, there are very few characters, maybe Persephone and maybe Quince, they can really have a chance at beating, say, like, being advantaged versus both of them.
Yeah, and Persephone's far too inconsistent for me to call that a counter pick, really.
Yeah, I mean, if you bring Persephone in, you're basically saying, I want to invest a lot of skill and maybe win.
Yeah, I don't think Persephone even beats DeGrey that hard. Or Trock, really. Like,
I mean, she doesn't lose to either. It's kind of... Well, I mean...
I guess, but, like... I feel like at that point, if you're going to try to pick Perse, you might as well just pick Zane and endure the Zane-Trock matchup. Because Zane-Trock is not actually that awful. Mainly because you can get just super high payoff wins by swinging into throws.
Yeah, I mean... Yeah, Zane's probably the more reasonable one there. What do you think of Quince?
Quince?
Do you think...
Quince, I think, is probably where we will see Bob go. As Bob does play Quince, Bob's Quince is pretty good. And Quince, I would say, is slightly favorable against DeGrey. And about 5-5 with Trock. Oh, 1 second. I'll be right back. Yes?
Okay. I'm going to look up the Mystic Juicer Quince Trock matchup, because it's an interesting matchup, I think. So meanwhile we're seeing Jenga sort of not having aces, which is kind of weird. We're seeing him normal dodge. Costa, looks like he had aces after all. Never mind, I was wrong. He was just trying to dodge into them. Okay. Well, after I said that very wrong thing, I'll talk about kind of stuff Bob has in his discard. When he threw out the Naked J's and when he pumped with the K's, I was thinking to myself, Bob's the guy who has a lot of attacks in hand, specifically a lot of face attacks, and he doesn't have final authority, and he doesn't know what to do with them. And that's a bad position to be in, I think. We see Jenga attempting some throws, succeeding on several of them, and that being a good result for him. Quite in the lead in a top deck situation, but of the characters who can punish top decking, 5-card Onamaru is not the one you would choose, So ooh, wow. The dream of every DeGrey. Getting the pile bunker. Had Bob thrown, it would be very sad. I can tell you from experience when DeGrey top decks the thing. But with that insane Onamaru card efficiency, coupled with not ever having to land throws necessarily, this is a much better spot for Bob than several turns ago, because it's not like Jenga's actually going to kill him off of dodge at this point. So Bob, guard crush is pretty safe. If he has a fast attack, that's pretty safe. Dodge is always pretty safe. Throws aren't lethal at this point. Yeah, even if he just blocks, I mean, Jenga's out of the hand, but it's he's now to 2 cards, including 1 known card, so that isn't that much better. I mean, he does now have throw lethal. If he top decked to throw, he potentially has 6 attack lethal, but it's not that much harder for Bob to deal with this. Presumably he already had the final authority. In fact, we know he did, because played it, and he can't have played it without having it. So, if Bob cranks up the, ooh, brutal. So we'll see if Bob gets the other Joker, and nope, he does not. I wonder if Bob will go to Quince, or if Bob's going to go to Trock. I could see those, or Zane. I can see all three of those as potential picks. Raz thinks Quince. That seems pretty likely to me, but I wouldn't write off Zane, or even, like, the Trock. I don't know why, but I just have this feeling, after losing to Trock last time, Bob's been thinking a lot about Trock going into this matchup with Jengajam, and it's very possible he's going to just pick the Trock. So, I mean, of course Quince is very likely. Zane, we know he plays. He may have a different opinion than Raziek on the Zane DeGrey matchup. So we might see him bring Zane in. Either way, it looks like he's going to have to think about it, so I will look up that circumstantial mu on the chart. Firefox is bad at using this. So I'm not going to be able to tab back if a matchup does start.
I have returned with food.
Ah, that's good. Tell me if the matchup starts, because I'm looking up some tournament results. I commentated at the end.
Gotcha.
It came to be pretty close with Jenga at low hand.
I was gonna say I can see that from the 0 cards remaining in hand PCP into 6 attack.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal. God damn it, Firefox.
Chrome Master Race. Looks like they're still deciding on
who to pick to, yeah. I mean, it's not an easy choice who to pick, even versus someone who knows a lot of, or even as someone who knows a lot of characters like Bob.
Bob is going to Zane, inviting the possible Trock, or I shouldn't say possible, I should say inevitable Trock to come out after this.
Yeah, I mean, it seems pretty insane as Jengajam to not take any opportunity you can to bring Trock in, especially if it's in a matchup as good as Zane Trock, which isn't like it's not as good as people think, as you were saying, but I mean it's certainly like a counter pick, or you know, if you're going to counter pick Zane, he's kind of the one you go to, I guess. Or maybe you think Tony's more dangerous. I still am on Team Trock in terms of Trock, but
I think the main reason that I find Oni a more consistent counterpick against Zane is it is significantly harder to win Thief with Anarchy in Zane versus Oni than it is in Zane versus Trock.
Oh, and that's because you think Oni's... You can't get away with raw Anarchy, you have to dodge into it in Oni's matchup?
Well, you either have to dodge into it, or you have to take a big risk by attempting raw Anarchy. Because depending on when you are able to go for it, like there's a very strong chance that he's just not going to be pressing buttons that will lose. So you either have to hard call out a throw, or just risk it. But I think the K attack from Bob there was a little weird.
I mean, if you're going to be K-ing early game, DeGrey is a safer bet than many, especially with the way we've seen Jenga play DeGrey. He's not as likely to block in the early game, just because he likes to get to a lower hand. And also, that's probably a reference to some fighting game. How should I put this? DeGrey often just tosses out, like, 7 or something, and you need to beat.
Well, really the
attacks.
only reason to be playing King in, like, standing against DeGrey is if you are expecting him to play or 2 or 3 and can't beat that yourself. Because playing your own 2 or 3 gets you significantly higher payoff than playing Crash Bomb does.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like, I like to play this matchup playing a heavy attack range early on using low normals before DeGrey establishes his ace dodge. But once he does that, you have to kind of shift how you play it.
So that was weird. He just ace dodged into single J.
I mean, yeah, that is kind of weird. That tells me his hand is something like K's, 4s, 2s.
Another ace, maybe. Joker, something like that.
Yeah.
How valuable do you think the 2 attack is for DeGrey in this matchup? I mean,
I would say it's pretty valuable, because, like, if you can, once Zane uses a few of his 2s, 2 attack becomes super safe in neutral. Because at worst you're gonna get dodged, or, like, undercut by aces, but neutral aces is pretty risky, against, or as Zane.
So how would you play the aces then? I guess it's kind of like Ani where he can dodge you really heavily.
Yeah, I just confirm slipstream damage.
Oh, you just confirm it?
Yeah. So Bob gets a sick Nans, with 210 as the mills, but has the J from hand.
Yeah, I mean...
Okay, so... Bob,
Jenga's on the floor.
Bob dodged the last time that they were knocked down trying to call out the king, so I think he should just go for it this time. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, that's...
Hello, yes, this is an awkward hand. Jengajam probably has no blocks. There is basically no reason to wake up with Jack if you have a block. More sick Nans with K2.
So I don't think that's a Joker either, because I would definitely... Does he still have the 2 aces in hand? Yeah, he does. So I guess he's justified in not jokering in some case. Jokering now instead. Ooh, yeah.
Okay, so there's a good chance that Joker has drawn him a block, but you still keep going for the cross-ups anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, certainly doesn't have a king, because he'd certainly prefer that to playing a J.
Yeah.
You could also throw him, because it's unlikely he has a queen.
That's true.
As Jenga, I would for certain try and play a queen from knockdown than a jack, because,
Oh, but Bob scouts the drawn king from the Joker with the hardest reads.
well,
Reading the deck.
Read factory up in here.
Doesn't have the knockdown, though.
No. Knockdown or aces.
Up to 20 life, hands equal sizes, 1 burst gone from either side. Ideally, Zane would like to be a little farther ahead at this point, but sometimes that's not always how it goes.
Yeah. So, I guess this is a good time to, ooh, never mind. You know, that's another thing you'd rather play from knockdown, I think.
What?
As opposed to J, is 7. I guess it does cost a 7 if it whiffs, but...
Yeah, I think playing 7 from knockdown is pretty risky as DeGrey. I generally do not agree with it, but...
on no blocks hand where he played the J, I feel like that's more stylish. Because it gives so much hand info when you play the J, whereas the 7 gives a lot less.
Yeah, that's true.
Ooh, and he gets his block, but doesn't have it for long. Won't be keeping hold of that life lead, it looks like.
So, some solid damage. Reclaims the life lead after getting hit by the DeGrey of the previous turn.
Yeah, I mean, this is still... It looks pretty even with the the 1 card and 10 life in favor of Bob. Also, we haven't seen Bob use... We did see the 9 throw, which kind of suggests that he doesn't have good throws in hand.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen any 5 throws, and we've only seen the 1-7 used up. So this would be a good time for him to go for his throws, if you were gonna, you know?
Yeah,
Well,
I think basically you only 9 throw as Zane if you have no other throws. Almost always I would 10 throw before I 9 throw. So...
Yeah, I mean, I agree. An 8 throw, too. Also, 7 and 5, obviously, I think. Especially if, with the follow-up he did, it kind of suggests that he'd rather follow with the 9. Like 9 queen, if he didn't flip the 7.
Yeah.
So, I would agree with your assessment on lack of throws.
So, that's how many kings from Jenga now? 2? Okay, so... with half his deck left, you still go for this. And there's the Joker. So that's the second Joker. Unfortunately, that means Bob can now just die if he loses combat. Because Final Arbiter does 1 billion damage.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take probably 2 combats from now. Unless he lands the... like a really strong attack combo to actually finish Bob off. So I guess that sort of disincentivizes Bob's throwing. We'll see if Bob throws anyways.
Well, unfortunately, he's in the dreaded late game against DeGrey, where you have to play around the ace dodge of a PCP mix-up. And there's the PCP.
Those points, though.
Dodge was maybe a strong play, or a strange play, though. I feel like I basically would have played either attack or throw.
So, that's an interesting opinion. I actually think that dodge is a good play.
Well,
I think throw is very risky, because if you're throwing and you get hit by a punish, you're dying in 1 combat, whereas other things, it's going to take 2 combats to actually kill you.
see, I disagree with that, though, because Jenga has not shown the stones to raw bunk. Or even 5 or 6. Like, he just hasn't played the big standing buttons. So, at worst, you'd be eating, 2-3 AA, which I think was...
Not lethal, yeah.
Wouldn't quite have been lethal, I think. Yeah. So,
okay.
That's why I would tend towards that. But there's a second base ace. So, yeah. The Just Do It power-up. Unfortunately, this puts Bob down 2 games on the carousel.
Which is bad.
Yeah.
I mean, if he has his Colin the Schlatt's last ditch, can't be counterpicked, high variance character, he's gonna pull him out now. And that might be Zane for him, but it might be someone else. We'll see what Bob does.
With Jenga on game point, Bob can't really afford to pick a character who has a hard counterpick. Unless he just wants to try to be the hero, because it means he has to win the hard counterpick 2 games in a row.
Well, do you think the Zane has a hard counterpick in Troc and or Ani?
Yeah. Yes.
Would you call them both hard counterpicks or just Ani?
I would say both. It's just Troc is a little easier to play than Oni is. Play against is what I mean. Bob is calling to the crowd. I hope Bob listens to me, because he usually listens to me when he is searching for crowd input. As I was the one who told him, Bob, for the love of God, pick DeGrey. And then he did, and then he won.
Ooh.
Gwen.
Gwen of all people.
What?
Pushing the limit. By the way, before this goes on, I'm claiming Beats Unleashed is a thing I came up with. I came up with this about 2 years ago now. It was something you can see. Deluxe has a stream where I yell this as I play Beast Unleashed. And I came up with it because I think it looks like Troc is a DJ in his Ace artwork. And even though people have been saying that more these days, I was the one who said it first, and I said it a long time ago. So I'd like to clear that up by saying that now. Ooh, the 4 attack.
I was gonna say, I feel like you basically have to have the straight to play a 4 attack there.
Yeah, I'm shocked that he didn't have more crap to follow up with, because in order to play a 4 attack, I'd need like a straight plus like an ace or something. But I guess he felt confident that Bob wasn't going to go for, or Jenga wasn't going to go for the 2 and 3.
Being stuck in Gwen though is fucking tragic. Like, you can play the most basic Valerie and beat the shit out of Gwen.
I don't think the Val matchup is as hard, to be honest. I think Gwen definitely has some play. Gwen, just with her 2 card draws and her insane damage, I feel she doesn't have stellarly good matchups, but she's not going to have any bad matchups, even Val, where she's not going to be able to scrape out a win at least, like, I don't know, 30% of the time. And I mean, I think she's one of the best in the cast in terms of not being counterpickable.
I think you're crazy.
Yeah, I think DeGrey's good at it too, actually. In fact, I think everyone does. DeGrey really doesn't lose to anyone. Oh, you said I was crazy? I heard DeGrey does.
No, I said you are crazy for thinking Gwen is not counterpickable.
Oh yeah, I heard DeGrey does, so that's why I said that thing that I said. Huh. That's interesting. So I guess we could talk about that matchup, if you wanted. I mean, Valerie does have great speeds versus Gwen, but...
See, Gwen has this problem where Valerie can just press Q or Ace and win combat, and if she loses, the payoff is not bad.
Well, I think that in a lot of cases, Gwen gets a lot of mileage out of playing more dodges than the typical Gwen does. You can easily dump 16 damage Ace off a dodge or 14 damage Jack. And I mean, those aren't super impressive numbers by themselves, but with her insane card draw, Gwen is dumping that, if she wants, off of every dodge, every turn ever.
I guess, but I still think it is really bad, and historically results have shown it to be really bad.
Okay.
That said, I also think Gwen DeGrey is really hard for Gwen. Because she can just kind of lose in 2 combats.
I mean, yeah, that's definitely the case. I've played this matchup reasonably often versus Malthug back in the old days when I played Gwen. And it's not as hard as you'd think. Gwen, she really does a lot of damage. If you milk all her combats for all they're worth, she really does a lot of damage. And I mean, DeGrey's killing her in what, 2 or 3 combats, 4 combats, 5 combats, depending on the cards he gets. But Gwen has less issues with getting cards. And if DeGrey doesn't get the kings, then Gwen's punching DeGrey in the face every turn, and DeGrey's dead in like sub 5 combats easily. So I think it's definitely reasonable to see Gwen win this matchup. But that king though can really screw her over. If DeGrey gets like 3 of them, it's bad news bears for
Bob
Gwen.
doing super well right now though.
Yeah, he's got the combat wins, and he has enough damage to make him hurt. I think, in my opinion, I think a lot of people disagree with me, but I think Gloria's Remedy is a terrible card. I can't think of a situation, especially with Jenga down at like 17 life, where I would prefer to Gloria's Remedy as opposed to either like dodging or in another case blocking, because getting, you know, the 2-card advantage for 6 life, just the immediate card advantage, I feel, is a really great payoff for Gwen, because she has a lot of combo points to convert those cards into damage, and even though she gets a lot of cards already, she's definitely she welcomes more cards, even so. So I think 10. I will say that now. I think 10 block is pretty bad in many cases. So Jenga does have an ace in hand, it looks like.
Yeah, he just
Bob also with the aces.
Oh, okay. The call out.
Big ace. Big A. So I guess he kind of did that to bypass jokers, and for the speed advantage is not going to help him over like a 7 throw.
Sure.
Also, on that subject, I guess I could see the 10 block, because he did 7 dodge the turn afterwards, which is a pretty desperate dodge from Gwen. So potentially he didn't have any dodges the turn he 7 blocked, and he wanted to beat an attack, which indeed he did.
Well, time to see if Bob can survive 2 rounds of Jenga counter picks.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not clear if Jenga's going to go to Val, like you were saying, or if he's going to stay DeGrey. I've actually never seen Jenga play Val, so as far as I know, she never plays Val.
I was going to say, I don't think I've ever seen Jenga play Val. I don't know who he would go if he was looking to counterpick here.
I think Jenga's staying DeGrey, but he might be so scared that, like, sometimes, and I've seen this, I don't want to say, this sounds kind of mean to Jenga, but I think Jenga's a really stellar player. But a lot of times when he does lose, it's because he gets like stuck in a rut playing a matchup. And I mean, if he versus a character that he just loses to several times in a row. And I remember historically, I was always shocked when people would beat Jenga. They would just pull out like some character that he, because he's better. He's gonna beat anyone who's trying to like ride the carousel or things, because he's so good at all the characters. But if you can just pick one character that, for some reason, you know, he gets stuck and he's unable to deal with, I think that you tend to have a lot of success versus him, which I personally haven't. Well, except one time. It's actually the one time I beat him. That's how I did it. But I feel like, I mean, I don't want to sound mean to Jenga, but because I think he's a great player. But I feel like if you're gonna go against Jenga, that's kind of how you do it.
So Jenga opening with, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is Jenga opening with a 4 dodge and then a 2 dodge means he definitely had a bunk behind that.
Yeah, either bunk or ace. That's how it.
I think dodging to ace is probably not worth the payoff super early in the game.
Yeah, you'd prefer to hit confirm it or something like that.
I would sooner just use the aces as dodges.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see why you'd think that. You're probably right.
Either way, undercutting that king from Jenga is super key on Bob's part.
Jenga's still going for the dodges.
Yeah, he's terrified right now.
I mean, either that or he's drawn a hand that really favors, like, it has a bunch of good dodge follow-ups, like multiple pile bunkers and a lot of dodges. But I mean, if he is terrified, I don't think he has a reason to be terrified of Gwen's attacks. Because,
yeah, not on the 6 cards from Gwen.
not on 5 cards, which he was at. Ooh.
Bob's threading the needle right now, attacking the PCPs, undercutting the kings.
Yeah, this is some pretty stellar play from Bob, I think. And again, if Bob's going to beat Jenga, you know, this is how one would go about it. Interesting that Bob only used like 3 combo points in that last combo. He may be out of like good attacks. Like I think you could jam Jack linkers or King linkers into that combo and be fine with it, which kind of,
yeah, there's
I guess,
basically
means that
no
he doesn't
reason
have
not
this.
to have stuck a king in there, so I would say he likely just doesn't have one.
I agree. I mean, with no jacks or kings.
Now the question is, does Jenga have an actual confirm off of this, or is it just 7J? Nope, just 7.
Ooh.
That's pretty good. Losing combat to a PCP where you only take 7 damage is pretty good.
Yeah, and I mean,
In fact,
You-
that's
you are
best
having-
case scenario if you're not just beating it.
yeah, and he is cycling the card, which is, I mean, it's reasonably bad, but it's not the worst thing that could ever happen. Ooh,
I feel like that was a weird cue.
yeah, I don't know about that Q. Q
Not
in this
quite.
matchups.
Not sure why you would do that on 5-card DeGrey.
I mean, Q is basically a tool that beats a lot of DeGrey's trumps. It beats his 7 trump and it beats his king, right? So, it also beats other miscellaneous attacks and throws from him, but especially the king, because that's its niche, you know.
Yeah.
So I feel like, I don't know if Bob really had grounds for thinking Jenga had a king in that case.
I would like to see Bob wake up with an attack here, like just raw king or something.
Yeah, I mean, if he hits a J combo at this point, ooh.
I'd have been wrong though. I thought
Yeah,
Jenga
Bob-
would try to press his advantage.
I mean, when and if Bob does hit the Jack, the freezing effect is going to make it so that Jenga is not necessarily in a good position to face down. What I mean is he can't face down and then he loses. If Bob can nail the combo together. So Jenga might even just hold that down back, try and dodge some more, because he knows that if a J connects, it's really bad for him. You know, because he doesn't get to use his Joker to negate this huge attack combo. So I think we're going to see Jenga down back a lot, looking for that J to try and avoid. And also, we're going to see him down back and maybe mix up some 2 attacks, 3 attacks,
Bob
or
can't
even
afford
like...
to sit around too much longer though, because that's why. Because now, on this combo, Jack is going to get a shitload of mortal high ground damage, possibly enough to just straight out kill him.
Yeah, I mean, this is a Joker.
6 bonus damage from MHG.
I mean, Gwen is a pretty high hand, so... Well, I guess not.
Bob's fortunate to either have bluffed his way out of that, or just hasn't drawn the Joker but got lucky. Now he's looking for some burst damage.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess this does make his Jack way more credible when he has the aces. And I mean, if he has a king... And,
Well, I don't think Jack is a play here. Like, if...
I mean, honestly, I do. Because, for example, if he jacked last turn and called out the PCP, he wins the game. Doesn't matter if Jenga has a Joker or 2 Jokers.
See, Jack's not going to win combat, though, because if Jenga's pressing a button that's going to lose to Jack, he's not going to, basically.
But he did is the... I guess, he's not going to do it much, but... If he does do it, like with the 7 last turn, then it's just such a high payoff.
That was in neutral, though. I'm talking about on knockdown. If Jenga Jam's pressing a button, it's fucking neutral final arbiter. Because the worst that can happen is it gets undercut by Q. Or blocked by 10, I guess.
I mean, I don't think 10 is that relevant, as I said before. I think... Oh, and there's Jay!
I literally cannot believe Jengajam played a 5.
Yep, guess who is, feeling very self-righteous with,
Well, I mean, when
Jay.
idiots make you right, I guess there's that. Like, I think that strictly incorrect play, IMO. Like,
You'd rather... Oh?
I think there was literally no reason to 5, especially if you had a 3. Because 3 at least fucking trades with jacks, you don't just get obliterated.
Yeah, I agree the 5 was pretty odd.
Like, I think that was a straight-up misplay. And there was no reason I would have played that, because it's the most likely way you could lose the game.
Speaking of straight-up misplays, it's actually been a while, and I feel like I'm okay talking with this. Remember when you played the 8 throw, and it got undercut by...
Yes.
I don't think it was a misplay. I think 8 throw is the correct play there.
Well, I mean, so did I. That's why I played it.
Yeah, but a lot of people said on stream afterwards, including me, that it was a misplay, but I think it was correct. Anyways, back to the match at hand.
Bob can still afford to get hit by a king at these card totals, fortunately for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's not good for him, for sure. And it looks like he's okay just trading the dodge, because Jenga knows, I mean, Bob presumably has, well, now we know he has an ace that's very good at locking the damage out. And,
now
I mean,
he can't afford to get hit by king.
No.
They can double down, and I believe double downs don't count as a win for both players in TOPANDA. I think it's a no win for either player.
Double down with the aces?
Yeah. Or he could lose to king.
Yeah, this is to the wire here.
Yeah, double KO is no win in TOPANDA.
We could also see him 7 throw.
Oh.
Oh, damn.
Yeah,
Oh.
he's dead. Yeah. Rest in peace, Bob.
Well, that's,
I was like, he's still alive, and then I realized it was at 2, and I was like, oh, well, Gwen. Yep, that closes it out. Jenga winning it 4-2.
very close games, though.
Yeah, he nearly threaded the needle. He needed just one more ace, and then he would have been able to kill him off of that jack combo.
Yeah, just pretty damn close.
Well, thank you for casting with me, Redless. I appreciate you jumping in on such short notice.
No problem, Raziak. It's a pleasure to cast with you.
Let me see if there are any other matches that are going on.
I have to eat dinner. My mother called me down
Fair enough.
a few minutes
in
ago,
that case,
so
I will see you
I have
later,
to hop
sir.
off. See you, mate.
Have a good night.